But going back to The Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson, this scene I wish to relate to you has to do with the point I wish to convey to you now. If you recall, after the crucifixion, a drop comes from a cloud, touches the earth as a great earthquake. Temple is broken in half, the veil is torn in two, and then you see an image of this diabolical figure representing Satan at the foot of the cross, which is all arid, the ground is cracking, going into a rage. Well, that's sort of like how Satan reacted after Jesus was crucified and went into Abraham's bosom and then resurrected. Because once Jesus resurrected, he forever sealed our resurrection and our immortal salvation over Satan, thereby setting us free from his grasp from all eternity.
For this video, I wanted to share one of my favorite clips of Father Iannuzzi with you. It's not too short and not too long either, but still, as always, I hope you are going to learn quite a bit from this one.
When we experience interior aridity, desolation, darkness, resistance, trouble, uphill battles, resting in us, allowing us through our exercise of the virtues in these difficult moments to snatch from his hand chastisements drawn upon the earth by other souls, and at the same time to perfect us in uniting ourselves more intimately with him and amass more merit. Do you think that the great saints who attain the heights of holiness and that at the same time were harassed by the devil were displeasing to God because God allowed the devil to harass them? Quite the opposite. St. Padre Pio, when he was physically left in a pool of blood by the devil, after he already attained the heights of holiness, was asked by one of the confreres, why does God allow this to happen to you? And he replies in his epistles, I have all of his 4-volume epistle set. He says, so that I can offer up this for the salvation of souls. The suffering God allows the devil to impose upon me, I offer up for the salvation of souls. I am enabled to grow in holiness more in intimate holiness with God, amass more merit. So these are the 3 reasons Padre Pio gave. And he knew that. And that's why he welcomed it. He never said, God, stop it, take the devil away. He understood exactly why God was allowing this. He called on his angel one time, I remember, and he was a little bit, with his Italian humor, irritated with him. He was being beaten by the devil one time, and he looked up and he called upon his angel for assistance. And his angel's praying to God, singing hymns. And he looks at his angels and said, why are you singing hymns and I'm here suffering? You're supposed to be helping me. And the angel basically said to him, and this is, I'm paraphrasing from his epistle, your sufferings offered up with your intention are saving souls from hell, and they're glorifying God and increasing my accidental glory. And I'm glorifying God for the glory you've given me. Padre Pio says, well, that's great, but come down here and help me now. I need your help. And he did. The angel eventually did and helped him. But you see the paradox? Satan becomes an instrument in God's hand for the advancement of the souls in God's will who love him. You may say Satan is the left hand of God. To his own unawares, he's doing God's will. Now, certainly those people who do not love God and are harassed by Satan use it for their own damnation because they don't turn to God like the saints do. And God will never allow a soul to be tested beyond its strength. Know that I will never allow the demons to tempt you beyond your strength. If I allow them to test you, it is for your own good. For I never place a soul in battle for it to perish. Rather, I first measure its strength. And everyone's strength is different. First, I measure its strength. Then impart to it my grace. And only then do I place it in battle. So see, before God allows Satan to test us, troubles to assail us, and evil to beset us, he first measures our individual strength, which is unique to each and every human being. Number 2, then he gives us his grace. And only after he's done both, he puts us in battle. After stating, first I measure its strength, then I impart my grace, only then do I place it in battle. And if the souls happen to fall, if some souls happen to fall, it is because they have failed to remain united to me in prayer. That is huge. This is the blueprint on how to defeat Satan. Constant prayer, a daily steadfast regimen of prayer is essential. I gave in one of my talks about a year ago why most people keep falling back into sin. It's because they don't have a consistent daily regimen of prayer. They have prayer, but it's not consistent. It's up and down according to what comes each day. If it's a difficult day, they don't pray at all. They're too worried, or they're absorbed in their problems. And that's a distraction from Satan. And if everything's easy and fine, they don't pray either, because now they can do everything they want, go fishing, go sailboating, and do this and that. And then they go, see the paradox of life is when we have all the time in the world, we have no time. And when we have all these troubles, like seeds that were thrown among thorns, we're choked by the anxieties of life and by the troubles that the devil puts upon us. So the devil hits us in both directions with consolation and desolation. And this is why the will that transcends the highs and lows of our external existence is under God's command. Not the intellect, not the memory, the will. The will commands the intellect. The will commands the memory. Satan can enter the intellect and the memory without your consent, but the will can cast him out. And that's why the will is the greatest of the three faculties and the repository of all the acts done in God's divine will that turn to your favor on Judgment Day. So the will commands the intellect and the memory to make time for God every day, to set aside time to have a consistent, daily, steadfast, regimented prayer life. If the will does not do that, there's no way you're living in God's divine will. If you are not following a daily, consistent regimen of prayer, you are not living in God's divine will. There's no way you can do that. You can say, well, I come and go, I pray once in a while, and when I'm in those prayer moments, I invoke God's will, so I'm living in it. Well, my question to you is that really living? Living implies continuity. Visiting does not. I would say you're visiting God's will. You're not living in it. I never place a soul in battle for it to perish. Rather, I measure its strength, impart my grace, and only then do I place it in battle. And if some souls happen to fall, it is because they have failed to remain united to me in prayer. No longer sensibly experiencing my love, here it's desolation, darkness. They don't experience the consolation anymore. This is where they're feeling resistance. No longer sensibly experiencing my love, they go about begging for love from other creatures. Isn't that so true? We feel abandoned. This person took his love or her love away from me. That person rejected me. They're no longer paying attention to me, so I have to replace their love that they took away with someone else's love. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's psychologically a sound approach to not sulk in the corner and feel unloved when people have abandoned you, but rather go out, talk to people, meet people. But that's not replacing God, you see. You're speaking and finding God in and through others. That's one approach. Another approach is when there is no one else available, you have no choice but to turn to God, like Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, when the apostles fell asleep more than once. So Jesus says, no longer sensibly experiencing my love, these people go about begging for love from other creatures. Whereas I alone could fulfill and satisfy the human heart. Such souls do not let themselves be guided by the sure path of obedience, but trust more in their own human judgment than in the judgment of those who guide them in my stead. So what wonder is it if they fall? Here the Lord is saying, there are many people in the church today that answer to no one but themselves. They badmouth the Pope, they badmouth the magisterium, they think their wits will save them, and they will end up in hell on their butts. But I didn't know, but I thought this, but I thought that. And they end up in hell on their butts. The majority of Christians today do not look to the church to obey it. They look to it either to confirm their own instinction or their own instincts or inhibitions or judgments, thoughts, opinions, and then they agree with it when they concur with these. The minority of the people today do what Jesus asks them. How can I say that? Just look at the statistics. They don't lie. How many people go to church on Sunday in the Catholic Church? About a quarter. A quarter of the pie goes to confession and communion. That in itself is a statement. The vast majority, they're not putting God at the center of their life. And it's been like this for a long time. But this will change when God will visit us very soon, and through his Holy Spirit, the third person of the Trinity that will express himself both externally and internally through fire, will thin the ranks, leaving a remnant of meek individuals to inherit the earth.
Well then, that will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, and hopefully all of you have learned something useful from this video. And remember, if you have any suggestion or feedback, please don't hesitate to let us know in the comments below. And if you like what we do and you'd like to support us, I left the link to our PayPal donation in the description box below, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your continuous support, contributions, and prayers. And until the next one, thanks again for watching and may God bless you.